Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming, it's Mouse with the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with the Let's Play episode of Heroes Advent, Kody's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up and let's go. I think I'll call it a day. Sorry, Ten. It's fine. Oh, it's fine. Fine, Cassian. Just sit back and take it easy. Thanks. You decided to relax and take a sip of your drink as Kody decided to play a few rounds out of curiosity. Despite Tensei somehow landing a few blackjacks in a row, the bear did end up winning back a few gold coins. That was pretty fun. Huh. Well, I have to admit, gambling is kind of fun. As long as you do so in moderation, you should be fine. So, how are you so lucky, though, Tensei? I noticed that you shuffle the deck quite frequently, yet you got pretty high score quite often. Yeah, what's up with that? You aren't playing any of those sleight of hand tricks on us, are you, Tin? Would you believe me if I say no? I guess we wouldn't. It is what it is, I suppose. But no, I assure you that I did not cheat. I did, however, say that Lady Luck was on my side, after all. But what does that mean? That question is akin to saying, but what is luck? Vsauce Michael here. I mean, yeah, we talk about luck a lot, but what is it even? I don't really know the fancy terms, but isn't it all in all just an occurrence? Well, you're not far off there, boss. In essence, I see luck as a set of circumstances that culminates in the outcome that you happen to achieve. So, you both are saying that it's not really something we can influence, but rather just a result that you can observe? A result of many small intricacies in life, or coincidences as we call them. And there are ways to influence your fortune, Cassian, just not the way that you expect it to. Like what? Well, let's start this with a question. What do you think of karma as a concept? Is it like our moral compass or something? In a sense, you could see it as such. Well, I only know that if you do good, then good will come to you eventually. That's what Father Gregory taught us back at home anyway. Yeah, I don't think karma is something we can ever gauge properly, but it exists as a reminder that we should always strive to do good. I see. A very noble notion indeed. Yet at the same time, one should be mindful of their intent, even while they do good, Cassian. Well, what does that mean? Well, I guess you can't really expect good things to happen all the time just because you try to do good. If that was the case, most of us would be rich by now. Quite the realist way to look at it, boss. But yes, that's why there exists the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, after all. Right, but what does all this have to do with luck? Second, yeah. It's still an interesting observation, is it not? Why is it that we often attribute karmic retribution to those who'd committed misdeeds and suddenly was suffering a sleuth of misfortune? And at the same time, we'd go just by luck whenever we lost a raffle or lottery draw, when the result was clearly predetermined. Well, it's all just different smaller circumstances leading up to those events, right? Bingo. Seems like you understand part of the nuances. It is kind of confusing, I'm not gonna lie. Don't sell yourself short, boss. With your lived experience, I'm sure you grasp the concept better than anybody. Oh, you're too kind, Ten. I'm merely stating the facts. It's been really interesting talking to you, Ten. Not only are you a great cook, but you seem like an awesome philosopher. Again, you flatter me. It's all just bits and pieces of wisdom I've picked up along the way. Huh. If me hiring you was lucky, then I guess we're all in luck tonight, boys. I guess we are. And so you spent the next hour chatting with the two. Kody seemed to be in very high spirits, and of that you were glad. You stayed to help clearing out the tables as the last customers finished eating and left, before returning to the lobby as well. It's still early. What should I do first? Where do you want to go? Back to your room. You decided to turn in for the day. You took a long shower and briefly prepared for bedtime. You wondered how the trip tomorrow would turn out to be, since it was quite the serious mission after all. Though, after such a long and eventful day, it didn't take long for you to drift to sleep. When you came to, you realized you were in the void once again. The cold, unnatural emptiness had started to become familiar to you as you felt suspended in the abyss. You knew this wouldn't last for long and waited for the next thing to happen, as it always did. Before long, a warm breeze brushed along your cheek, accompanied by a comforting floral aroma that guided you to the ground. Alisa! You spoke into the void as it slowly blossomed into the familiar courtyard of the Vitrum Park's inner sanctum. The large table was present, looking as though it was set up ahead of time for another tea party, even if the darkened sky said otherwise. Cassian, it is pleasant to see you. I hope you did not mind my intrusion. You lifted your head as the rabbit sage spoke to you. It was as though she was right there before you, even though you couldn't quite make out her figure. Not at all. Are you still at the Guardian Crystal? That's right. It is imperative that I remain nearby to oversee the Guardian Crystal's mending. Although I've given you my blessings, I still regret not being able to see you all off when morning comes. Oh, that's all right, Alisa. Just getting to see you here is more than reassuring. Well, compared to what my other nights tend to be anyway. Yes, the nightmares. Well, for now you are safe here with me, Cassian. Please, why don't you join me for some tea? Your eyes were drawn to the tea set and various slices of cake around the table. You sure love your tea, huh? Even though I can't really taste it here. She tittered playfully as you approached the table to take your seat across from her. And that much is true. It is little more than a formality, however. With all the commotion between the crystal's condition, your newly awakened powers, and the active threat to our hearth and home, there is little time to enjoy a cup of tea with good company. Her tone wavered toward the end as the weight of her disappointment were communicated directly to you. I understand, ma'am. Every day does feel like it's such a rush. I've had fun, of course, but it would be nice to be able to slow down a bit. Slow down? You're much too young to be considering such things, wouldn't you say? Well, when life is a hurricane, you do learn to appreciate the calm before the storm. I see. If only your companion felt the same way. I'm sure Kody would love to. Well, if only when he's closed down the restaurant after a long day, that is. That bear is certainly a handful, but a reprieve after a day's work is rewarding of that discipline. You could feel a hint of pride in her voice and Cody's diligence. So, can you not summon them like you can me? I could, but that can be quite perplexing for them. They cannot comprehend what they see here. Only those like you or I can traverse these landscapes with our consciousness intact. That's a shame. Out of habit, you reached out to the cup of tea mid-speech, bringing it to your lips as you gingerly took a sip. You were rather taken aback as you could feel the tea go down your throat, though the flavor and temperature were non-existent. So tell me, how has the Academy treated you? Have the boys treated you well? Ah, well... You regaled her in the brief recap of the last week you had spent with Kody, helping them out with their routines, preparations for the festival, the encounter with Linus, and the preparations you had made the day before for the next morning. My, you have been kept quite busy since arriving. I have been able to enjoy some rest between everything, though, even if it has gotten interrupted by a lot of things. I see. And have you come to like it here in the Crystal Coast? Of course, it's a lovely city. I'm really enjoying my stay here so far. Enough to want to live here. Live here? If we didn't have to worry about the nether beasts, absolutely. She paused, a pleasant smile on her lips as she seems to consider something. Alisa? No, I'm all right, dear. I was simply worried you'd have trouble getting used to a new town. What do you mean? Well, I don't know what your world must have been like, but I'm certain it mustn't have been easy to be somewhere so different. I guess so. It's not that different from my world, actually. There are a few things that are different, but it's mostly the same. Does this mean you've also lived in a coastal city? Oh no, I lived in a city inland. I see. Did you like living there with your partner? Partner? Oh, you mean Carl! Sheesh, I almost completely forgot about him. It's been almost a month since I've been here. I wonder if he's doing all right. Cassian? Oh, sorry, ma'am. Well, I guess so. He did make it a lot easier to live in the city. It's not as friendly as Crystal Coast, that's for sure. Was it a hostile environment? No, definitely not hostile. It's just a lot more crowded, and more people are pretty distant unless you knew them, if you will. Is that so? I suppose having a friend in such a large space was a blessing. It really was. We grew up together ever since we were kids. He's helped me through a lot of tough times. I should thank him for helping you be who you are today. Well, you can't give him all the credit. The old man at the orphanage did pretty good keeping us in line as kids. Alisa listened intently as you rambled on about life before college. how you've daydreamed about exploring the inner city and along with the myriad of other things you couldn't afford to do. Then all the shenanigans you and Crawl used to get up to. How it was when you got your first apartment together after leaving the orphanage. Oh, so you had not lived in the city all your life either. Yeah, we used to live in this little countryside before moving to the city for our education. I see. So life isn't so different out there than it is here. You think so? In what way? Well, I'm not from the Crystal Coast, not originally. Huh. Did you have to migrate when the corruption spread? Something to that effect. I lived in the Western Plains before I was summoned to work on the Guardian Crystal. Was it hard for you to adapt to the change? It certainly took some time getting accustomed to the commodities of modernity. Honestly, I still find much more comfort in the countryside or forest side. It was also overwhelming when I first arrived. The voices of the people were laden with so much emotion, a person could only take so much. It was the fine young men and women of the guild that helped me get used to life in the city. Their strong wills and sharp minds reassured me that not all was lost. Their determination was very much a welcome calm amongst the stormy hearts of the people. You noticed a wistful expression on her face as she stares down at her steaming cup of tea. Alisa, did something happen? Oh, many a thing took place over the course of 20 years, dear. She gave a breathy laugh, lost in reminiscence. An almost sunny radiance emanated from her side of the table, like the sunlight on a cold, misty day. There was one foolhardy young man, barely a cadet in the guild's employ when I came. He fancied himself a hero among his peers. I thought, were he to face the king's forces, he would surely be killed in battle. And I had never stopped believing that from the day we met, to the days he'd attempt to court me, to the day he was taken from me. When the Guardian Crystal was at its most pivotal stage, we were warned the king's forces were on their way to stop us. The Gallanteers sent their best men. Among them was my betrothed. When they returned, more than half the retinue was lost, but the king's forces had been decimated, buying us enough time to complete the crystal. I didn't even get to see him one last time. It was before I learned I had been with child for a little over 3 months. The people were sympathetic, but their sorrow only magnified my pain. I retreated into a quiet corner of the city to raise my child. His name is Pasquale. When he came of age, he followed in his father's footsteps, becoming a Gallanteer cadet, rapidly rising through the ranks. His father would have been so cross to see him complete the training in such a cavalier manner. She paused to release a quivering breath. It was only then that you realized her hands had gripped tightly to the tablecloth. We had made great strides in learning about the king and his powers. Many mercenaries from the guild had gone and returned. Not from battles, but reconnaissance missions. He was assigned to one such excursion. It took everything within me to beg him not to leave. He reassured me that these missions were much simpler than a simple combat. He vowed he'd return to me, but that was 3 years ago. When he and his team failed to return, and the crystal signature had become unreachable, they had been presumed dead. The people could understand a mother's pain, but there were those who were unkind to my plight. A witch, damned to lose all she held dear. That was the day I could not bear the voices any longer. I left the care of the Guardian Crystal to Aegis and fled to the forest. Alisa, Please, I need not pity Cassian. I say all this to you so that you be careful. Do not stray far from your companions. I would not be able to live with myself if you were lost as well. I'll try to be careful, Alisa. You don't have to worry. I have Kody and the others with me. If only things were that simple. That simple. Ah, it appears daybreak is upon us. It will be time for you to join your companions. Ah, it's morning already? Listen, Alisa, when we get back, let's have another tea party, for real next time. I will hold you to your word, my little hero. Till next we meet. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for what I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silver, and thank you all but above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. And thanks to our 3 gold tier patrons, Zeke, Toby, and Blue Wolf Alpha. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if you want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our safe for work contents as little as $5. If y'all don't want to donate to our Patreon, you can always donate using Super Thanks on YouTube. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!